Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars. Well, if you are not here, you better get your ass to Kokomo already. There's a little place called Kokomo Speedway, and it's the site for the return of Monday Night Madness right here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. We've got a good one around the corner. Open 358s, Rebels and Renegades, set to bring us to life and set to bring us to action here. Glad you could join us on another edition of Monday Night Madness on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Marty Sakala with you. Well, last week, a phenomenal Knoxville Nationals that we had, benefiting the Steve King Foundation, all in honor of Mike Westbrook. And in the end, we had our first-time Knoxville Nationals champion, that being Chad Griggs in the 27. Griggs taking the checkered flag in what was a fun 47 laps in the end. A big shout-out to Dean Reynolds and the rest of the C2CRL admins for putting this on. Well, let's get set for Open 358 action and talk about what's been going on so far this season. And obviously the dominant driver all year long has been the Sam Akonda himself, Sam Bachman, in the 007. But from the looks of it, Bachman not in the field with us this evening. And 3 wins. He has a 4-point lead. Don't forget, drops are in effect on the driver of car number 4, that being Slide Job Scotty himself. Scott Mariome getting set to go tonight in the FTM Express ride. Currently stands second in points, coming in 4 points back. Then all the way behind third in points, the driver of the 118, Logan Wentz getting set to go for racing. Trevor Giroux, the Philly Flyer, is fourth in the standings, and Kelly Wheeler. And Kelly Wheeler rounds out the top 5 in standings. And as we get set tonight for another Monday night here, let us know who you're rooting for on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Give you a shout out live and on the air. Drivers are currently in their drivers meeting at the moment. Then we'll get set to go. 23 drivers make up the count here this evening, so we will have a B-main set to go here for you tonight on the Premier Coast to Coast Racing League division. And the checkers have waved, so we're set to go for qualifying. 2 laps. How quick can you go here, basically? Remember, we invert the top 4 prior to taking the green flag in heat races. And we'll watch the first driver that makes their way onto the racetrack of this small facility. And no surprise, what do you see? The driver, the number 31, B-Town Brandon Templeton, gained his laps around Kokomo Speedway. Lap 1 time here for Brandon Templeton. He'll set the bar here in qualifying. 12:74, 1:27.42 on lap number 1. Keep an eye if anyone hits purple. You see that from William Watson, purple in sector 2. Watson 4th quick. Jason Butterfield 2nd quick, the return of the Venom Racing team. Butters goes 2nd at a 12:86. Harold Klump up to the 2 spot now at a 12:85 on lap number 2. Butters answers that back in the Venom 93. He goes 2nd at a 12:8.37. Scott Rayome, Mike Brewer. Brewer goes 2nd. Rayome on lap number 1 is 7th at a 12:90. We'll see if the FTM Express has something a little bit better across the line. He does not. Isaac Salas, lap 2, meanwhile. 2nd quick, 12:7.74 for him in his C2CRL return. Let's go to Rick May in the 187, who had a very fast car at Knoxville. Lap number 1 time 12th. Billy Roberts 2nd quick though. Not bad of a time for him in the number 16 as he is 2nd quick on the boards. By 100th off. 20 seconds left in qualifying. Doesn't look like Logan Went or Clay Christopherson will qualify. So with that being said, Brandon Templeton the quickest at a 12:7.42. 1:27.42. For B-Town, Brandon Templeton, 11 thousandths of a second quicker over Billy Roberts. So the checkers wave here on practice. We're set to go for the heat that'll determine who is on pole position tonight. Heat race number 1, as always, brought to you by Gambler Motorsports, proud team of the Coast to Coast Racing League. Brian Moore Sr. on the pole in car number 55. To his outside, it's Harold Klump in car number 2. Row number 2, it's the Brew Crew. Mike Brewer in the 39. And to his outside, B-Town Brandon Templeton in the 31. The third row, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. Next to him, it's Superman Kurt Schetzer in the 218. Final row tonight, making his debut with us on Monday Night Madness, Cranch Hines in the 47. And final car on the grid, Putt-Putt, Clay Christopherson in the 51. Ron checking in, as always, rooting for Brewer, and same with the Magic Ant-Man, Anthony Morano. And again, moments away from taking the green flag, Steve King Foundation pace car makes its way on the pit road. Fields in turns 3 and 4. Winner on the pole position this evening. Everybody makes the show. Green flag waves for Heat 1. Klump gets out to the early race lead, nearly 3 wide for the third spot. Trying to make the run is B-Temp on that third groove. He loves it here at these small racetracks like Kokomo. Lap 1 led by Harold Klump. 4 wide into turn 1. Here comes Brandon Dittmer. He came at them like a spider monkey, and he's trying to pounce for second. Still 3 wide for that second spot. Off for turn 4 at the line. I believe it was Brian Moore Sr. by a hair. The thing, though, Dittmer's got to be careful of. You saw them in 1 and 2, and the same goes for 3 and 4. Those Tory tires, and Dittmer struck one there. No harm, no foul. He's got the second spot. I nearly went bullseye on 1. Brewer, Moore Sr. battling very hard for the 4th position on the racetrack. This allows Christofferson and Hines to close it as well. This is actually the race on track. Yes, it is for 4th. Brandon Templeton still in this 3-wide battle for 3rd. It's still, though, Harold Klump, your race leader. Everyone liking their specific lane. It's Klump, then Templeton. Brewer edged out Dittmer at the line for the bottom step of the podium. And again, Dittmer clips a Uke tire again. Still watching, though, the race for the lead. Brandon Templeton back on the gas compared to Harold Klump. Had to left to avoid catching the wall. And B-Temp tries to rip the top side in 1 and 2. A very thin cushion, though, around this racetrack. Can B-Temp take the lead off for turn number 4? Yes, he can. White flag waves. 1 lap to go. Brandon, remember, was your quick timer in qualifying. Started 4th in heat race number 1. And because of that, he'll put the 31 on pole tonight. Brandon Templeton, your heat 1 winner. Club 2nd, Brewer 3rd, Christofferson 4th. Dittmer in 5th, Moore 6th, Hines 7th, and Schatzer 8th. Second of 3 heat races of the night here for the Open 358s, brought to you by Regency Home Inspection, proud partner of Venom Racing. As the Philly Flyer has her on the pole, Trevor Giroux with the 075. To his outside, it's the Bandit Randall Dixon in the 011. Row 2, Bud Molyneux in the 883. Next to him, it's Billy Roberts in the 16. Row number 3, William Watson is in the number 23. To his outside, Mike Weida in the 66. Final row has Kelly Wheeler in the 110 and Logan Wentz in the 118. In fact, no call from Wentz to grid, so because of that, we'll start the front 7 here at a place called Kokomo. Winner starts the outside of row number 1. Giroux, Dixon, bring us to green. Good start for the Philly Flyer off for turn 2. 3 wide for that second position. Who gets the edge at the line? I believe it's Randall Dixon, and it is. Then it's Molyneux. Race for 4th, Billy Roberts. William Watson going at it. Roberts stuck in the middle. He lifts as the Bandit has the 3rd position, but Roberts and Watson each want to take it back. A rough 3 and 4 for Roberts. Loses a ton of track time. Watson forced to left with Watson with a tough 1 and 2. On board the 23. Watson trying to rip her high, wide, and handsome. Still down, still stuck in the 5th spot across the start finish line. Molyneux trying to grab the race lead from Trevor Giroux down the back. The Venom 883 trying to grab bite from his former teammate. Roberts still stuck in a battle with Watson for 5th. Kelly Wheeler following Roberts on the inside line. Dixon's lost about a second to the top 2 who are battling for the race lead. 2 laps to go in the heat. Molyneux trying to get a run and get the bite there off for turn 4. Worked, sort of. White flag waves. Final lap in heat 2. Giroux preferred line in 1 and 2, and because of that, he's able to shut the door on Bud Molyneux. Off for 4, the Philly Flyer, your winner in heat race number 2. Molyneux second, Dixon third, Wheeler fourth, Watson fifth, sixth is Roberts, and Ueda in 7th. One more heat race left to go here for the Open 358s, and it's brought to you by Maurer Farm Management, official sponsor of the Retreads division. Rick Bain on the pole in the 187 to his outside. It's Sly Job Scotty, Scott Rayome with the 4. Row number 2, Butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93. To his outside, it's Sly Job himself. Welcome back, Isaac Salas in the 5. Row 3, Bob DeGood in the 7. Next to him, it's the Brewer to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. And final car on the grid, Brian Dickens in the 122. Set for the green here for heat race number 3. Field making their way down the back chute. Winner starts on the inside of row number 2 tonight. It is very hot here today, Anthony, that's for sure. It was nearly 90 degrees where I live, and oh, hold on there. Scott Rayome clipped Rick Main. Steering box damaged on the 4. No yaw in the corner, but luckily Kokomo can be a place where you don't really have to have any yaw on that high side. Main leading, Butterfield second, and here comes Isaac Salas ripping the top. It's very hot as well where I was working today, and so luckily I wasn't outside in the air conditioning. But I had all light-colored clothing on to be safe. Butterfield edging out Salas for the second spot. Across the start-finish line, Bob DeGood now in 4th. Brian Dickens trying to take a spot away from DeGood. The 7 car, though, claps the wall, and around he goes. Halfway home already here in heat race number 3. Jason Butterfield trying to catch Rick Main, and something's gone wrong with Isaac Salas. Now he's crashed in the number 5. Now we didn't catch what happened to Salas, and now Jeff Barker is also crashed as well. Oh, Salas with a lot of net code, and then comes back and is in the wall. And what happened to Jeff Barker? The 513 catches the wall himself and spins in front of Rayome. Meanwhile, white flag waves here. Still watching the race for the win. Rick Main, Jason Butterfield down the back. Winner starts inside row 2. What a set from Butterfield, but it won't pay off. Rick Main, your winner in heat 3. Butters second, Dickens third, Rayome 4th, Barker 5th, Salas 6th, and DeGood in 7th. Well, we will step aside, take our first break of the night. When we come back, featured time of the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And welcome back. Warm-ups continuing here with Mike Brewer the quickest at 12.827. Trevor Giroux second, 12.86. Brian Dickens third, 12.88. Clay Christopherson fourth, 12.89. And Harold Klump fifth at a 12.92. Set to go for our first feature of the evening. Let's meet the field and give you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, beats out Brandon Templeton in the 31 to his outside. In car number 75, the Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux. Row number 2, Rick Main in the 187 to his outside. It's Harold Klump in the 2. Row 3, Bud Molyneux in the 883 to his outside. It's Butters, Jason Butterfield in the 93. The 4th row, Mike Brewer in car 39. Next to him, it's the Bandit, Randall Dixon in the 11. Rounding out your top 10, Brian Dickens in the 122. And Putt-Putt, Clay Christopherson in the 51. Row number 6, Kelly Wheeler in the 11. And Slide Job Scotty, Scott Rayome in the 4. Row 7, it's Brandon Dittmer, the Spider Monkey in the 83. Next to him, William Watson in the 23. Row 8, the Brewer-to-Be's Jeff Barker in the 513. Next to Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. Row 9, Billy Roberts in the 66. And Slide Job Isaac Salas in the 5. And row 10, Cranch Hines in the 47. Next to Mike Weeda in the 66. Final 2 rows this evening, Bobby Good starting 21st, Kurt Schatzer in 22nd, and no Logan Wentz starting 23rd here this evening. Field rolling off for turn 4. Your pick to win this evening. Let me know. I'm going to go with the man starting second, Trevor Giroux in that 75. Lights are off. Steve King Foundation pace car set to make the left-hand turn to pit road, which it does. Coming into 3 and 4. First time tonight that it is time to shake and bake. Templeton, Giroux, bring us to green. It's time to get it on. 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide near the back of the pack. Templeton with the race lead. Giroux in second. Harold Klump in third. Singled out amongst the front 4. Now it's nearly 4 wide across the line, which it is. Holy moly, Christopherson, Molyneux stuck in the middle as Mike Brewer tries to make some runs in the 39. All the way downstairs where Papa keeps the wine. Still watching our race up front for the second spot. Harold Klump trying to get a crack at Trevor Giroux for the runner-up spot. Behind them, contact, Rick Main with the hip check to Jason Butterfield. Mike Brewer says, see ya. I'm up to 4th as Clay Christopherson goes around the 51. Same with Isaac Salas. And Scott Rayome and Kelly Wheeler make some pretty good saves. First caution flag flies here on lap 4. Well, here's what brought out the race's first caution flag of the night. Watch Putt-Putt. Contact between him and Molyneux. And Salas gets into him and sends him around. Just right on board with a couple of guys here. We'll begin with Salas. Scott Rayome. Ooh, with a little big bumper there to Kelly Wheeler. Luckily, the 110 able to save it. Let's see, Rayome trying to dodge some bullets there as we're already back under the green. Nope, we're still under caution. Now we're coming back to the green flag this time. Just had to make sure we all had that right. Here we go. Oh man, Mike Brewer tried to thread the needle there, but Klump and Giroux each closed that gap. And now Klump tries to send her on the 39. They're wheel to wheel for the third spot across the line. Butters trying to cut, Brewer trying to cut off Klump's line. We got trouble in the back, and we got Roberts around, and it looks like as well that Cranch may have gotten caught up as well. Dickens, Roberts, Hines all involved in this yellow. Caution flag waves here. Look at what happened. Watson eats him there in turn 3, and Roberts left with nowhere to go. Just did not expect Watson to come out of nowhere there. Alrighty, lights are off, coming green this time by. Gonna watch for the aerial shot here. Templeton, Giroux, row 1. Brewer, Klump, row 2. Molyneux, Butterfield, row 3. Main and Dixon, row 4. Dittmer and Moore Sr., that's your top 10. As we're ready to come back to green, 6 laps complete. You're gonna go 1 extra lap. Don't believe they had everything all set up there. All right, now I believe we're good. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. If we're going to fire later than normal. Pace car's not even out there on the racetrack. Templeton able to hold serve. Giroux, Brewer side by side for second. The teammates trying to go after the hammer down 31. 3 wide for third. Klump gets away from that. It's actually 3 wide for fourth. As there's a bumper there by Brewer on to Templeton. Everyone able to keep it straight for right now. Brewer first on the throttle. Can he get second at the line over his teammate? No, it's still Giroux. Klump fourth. Brandon Dittmer again back on the bottom. Trying to grab the 4th spot here from both Klump and Butterfield. And give credit to Butterfield for how consistent he's been near the front in this race tonight. And how about Dittmer? If he gets 4th, he'll be up 9 spots after starting 13th. In fact, he and Salas, who's in the 9th position, each up 9. Remember, Salas had that accident in his heat race. Trouble in the back. Oh, no! No! Oh, everybody hung on to it. They had stacked them up. We were 5 wide for just a moment. It was Butterfield, Molyneux, Klump, and Dixon. So Butters drops down to the 9th, to the 10th spot, rather. A look at what happened. Just caught the 2 of Klump and around Butters went, but a great save for the 93. So challenge for the lead, though. Here comes Mike Brewer trying to get underneath on B-Temp. Look at him just rolling the bottom at a very slow rate of speed. And this is what dirt track racing on bull rings is all about. But Templeton able to clear Brewer off the corner. Trevor Giroux runs out the top 3. Brandon Dittmer in 4th, and Rick Main trying to get back up there. He's in the top 5 spot after that big wad up that happened a couple laps ago. We're past the halfway mark here in this feature. I think Giroux edged out Brewer that time by at the start-finish line. But the teammates going out of here. I know there are some that wish to be in this battle, but they're probably partying in Drummondville, Quebec right now. If you know, you know. Isaac Salas making his way through around Kokomo. Sending her deep. up 13 spots from the 18th position, currently now in 5th, on board with Sly Job. As Salas is getting a little spicy tonight. 10 laps to go here. Next time by. Big lead for B-Temp. It's at 2 seconds. And Giroux and Brewer continue to go at it in this singles matchup. No clear winner just yet, and now it's Brewer across the line. Dittmer 4th, Salas 5th, Scott Rayome up 6th and 6th. Main down to 7th, Watson, Wheeler, Christofferson 3 wide for 8th. Remember, Putt was part of the first caution of the evening. So much good racing to watch on the track. Pick your favorite driver, as they're probably in a battle right now, except for the 31 of Christofferson. Gonzalez grab 4th meanwhile. Again, entry, advantage, the low line. Exit, advantage, the high side. Here's the slide job by Salas. That's why we started calling him Slide Job in the first place, because he was well known for doing that. So Salas now up to 4th spot. 5 laps to go. He would love to have a yellow wave. Lead still at 2 seconds, though, for Brandon Templeton in the 31 as he works on lap traffic. It'd be B-Temp's for, oh, Brian Moore up in the wall. He's at a slow rate of speed, able to hang on to it. 2 laps to go for B-Temp. It'd be win 1 of the Open 358 this season. But he's had success in the modified this year as he takes the white flag. Final lap underway for the Hammer Down Racing Dirt Track Bank number 31. Jeff Barker has crashed. No caution. We stay green to the checkered flag. Brandon Templeton, your winner. He got his ass to Kokomo, and now he gets to park it in victory lane. Brewer 2nd, Giroux in 3rd, Salas 4th, and Brandon Dittmer rounds out the top 5. How about it for Slide Job, up 14 spots to finish 4th? So they're set to go in victory lane while we get them set for the interviews. Your results from the evening is Templeton the winner by 2.2 seconds on Brewer, Giroux, Salas, and Dittmer. Good run for Rayome, who finished in the 6th position. Look outside the top 10 too. How about it for Kurt Schatzer, up 10 to finish 12th. Heartbreak, in my opinion. Jason Butterfield should have had a good finish. Was running well and then had that accident. Then got really sideways, able to save it. As your top 3 are all in, let's talk to your 3rd place finisher and Trevor Giroux. Man, oh man, that was a fun battle between you and Brewer at the end for second. But it really seemed like the place to be is the high side here at Kokomo.
Yeah, it really is. And if you can't hit it perfect, you're just getting into the wall and hurting the car. And that's kind of what happened to me tonight. Definitely felt like I had a fast car, but I think after the 2nd yellow or something there, I decided to try the top and just kind of case the wall and hurt the right front, and the car didn't feel the same after that. And but yeah, that's the way she goes here. It's that top here gets really thin, so you gotta really hit it perfect if you're gonna run up there. And then when you do hit it perfect, it's really, really fast.
A good run for you though tonight. Who do you want to give shout outs to?
I just gotta give a shout out to all the boys at FTM, of course. 2 of us on the podium. We'll definitely take it, and some good runs for the other boys too, of course. So shout out all those boys. Everyone at C2C putting the stuff on. You, Marty, for doing the broadcast. Give a shout out to a sponsor coming on board for the spring fling in a few weeks. Lambton Diesel Specialist, my cousin. Appreciate you coming on board for that. Expert Installation. Swan Speed Shop, Vertex Graphics, Customary Flagstone, Dean Reynolds with the Super Dirt Car Series, and I want to give a shout out to Tony in the chat there watching. Hope you're having a good day at work. But yeah, looking forward to Wednesday and Thursday.
He's having a hot day at work. That's how it feels. So,
I can only imagine.
alrighty, man. Great job tonight. We'll hopefully talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Marty.
Trevor Giroux, your third place finisher. Let's go to the man that finished in second, Mike Brewer. A good battle between you and Giroux. How are you able to hold him off from your perspective?
Just running the bottom. I didn't have anything up top there. But that was digging on the bottom. I thought we were really gonna have a car to win that until Brandon jumped up to the top side and he just kicked in the afterburners and checked out.
How'd you feel, though, about your car tonight?
I think felt awesome. I went a little steeper on the gear. The car pretty much drove itself. It was awesome if I not overdrive it and keep it there.
Well, good run, though, for you tonight. Who do you want to give shout-outs to before we let you go?
All the guys over there at Full Throttle Motorsports, you guys over there at Coast to Coast, you for broadcasting, Swan Speed Shop, Expert Installation, Dino over there at Dirt Car, and everybody out there watching.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, great job tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Hope so. Thank you.
Mike Brewer, our second place finisher here tonight. To victory lane we go. To your winner, Brandon Templeton, B-Temp. What a race car. Where did you feel that this car was better than everyone else tonight?
To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I just felt like I could keep the momentum all the way around, especially when I ran up high, like in the heat and later in the feature. Once I got up against the wall, there was no point in the track where I felt like I was just giving up speed and letting off too much. I mean, I was off the throttle, but my car was still rolling. I wasn't ever on the brake or tapping anything. So just momentum, and that's hats off to Brian Dickens getting one hell of a setup for us every week. I mean, this thing was on rails. If I could keep it off the wall, I don't think anybody was going to pass me.
Is this a track where you feel, from your perspective, clean air is the situation here?
Yeah, and I think that really is true on any slicker track where like this one slicked off pretty good tonight to where you were barely on the throttle, and when you're out front, it's a lot easier to stay off the throttle and follow your car versus, try to compare to the guys all around you. So that helps a lot too.
Well, hey, a nice win tonight. A perfect night for you tonight. In fact, quick time, heat win, feature win. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
I got to thank Full Throttle Motorsports for sponsoring this, you for putting on the broadcast, Dirt Track Bank, Jay Burdick there in Malvern, Iowa. Go to dirttrack.bank, put in a deposit. They do online banking, all over the United States, so help them out. They put that into, financing, helping give racers out there loans and stuff for haulers and when bad things happen. So they're out there for the racer. Support them, you support racing. Extreme Images, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, everybody at Coast to Coast are watching. Thanks a lot.
Alrighty, man. Thanks a lot for coming on in. Congratulations, your first win of the season in Open 358s. Brandon Templeton gets it done. Step aside, take a break. When we come back, the Rebels go to action on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Welcome back to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It's the Rebels set to get going here. Well, I think our sponsors, by the way, of Monday Night Madness, of course, the Open 358s, Full Throttle Motorsports, the Rebels, our Salty Dogs race team, and the Renegades. Big thanks to Flatline Racing Bodies. Right now, 9 drivers with us, so we're going to hope we get a little bit more here before we get to qualifying. And on the track here as well, for Rebels, our Knoxville Nationals champion, Chad Griggs right up at the top, and look how much he closed in there on Isaac Bowman. Without question, Griggs will be up there to try and win tonight. Of course, everybody makes it in here this evening. I believe they're going to put the drivers here in a meeting. There's Ted York in the 009, also one of our performers in Knoxville a couple weeks ago. Standings for the Rebels coming on in. Ted York is, in fact, our series points leader as well. 310 to 271 on Cale Bixter's second in points. Jeff Kemper then runs third in the standings, followed by the Professor, G.J. Boydell in fourth, and the Moose, Joe Musso, currently stands fifth in points. So he's checking in here in chat. Ron thought that was a good race. Hey, I thought it was a good race as well. Great to see the view count up. Got 17 people checking in. I think we had 20 earlier this evening. Again, moments away from feature time. Sam Bachman still with his Knoxville National scheme. I loved the schemes that FTM had. With Steve King Foundation on the wing. Had, if it was an animal of a nickname, they'd put it in. So, like, Sam Bachman had the Sam Aconda. Anthony had Magic Ant-Man. I'm trying to think if anyone else had any. I know Wentz had his nickname of Captain Fafo, but I don't think he had a... I don't believe, if I recall correctly, that he had a whatever a Fafo looks like. So drivers have, believe, in a drivers meeting here at the moment. I'm gonna cut the mic here, and we'll watch the drivers here get warmed up. Oh, did I hit something? Nope, never mind. I thought I did. I did not. But yeah, we'll cut the mic here for right now, and once they take the checkers here in practice, we'll get things going here with qualifying. So stand by here as you watch some of your favorite drivers go around the racetrack here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. All right. And just as I say that, they put the checkers here on qualifying. 9 drivers make up the car count here. So, believe this will be 1 or 2 heats. I would have to guess 2 heats. Let's see how they set that up. We'll watch for the first driver on the racetrack. We'll put out Teddy York here in the 09. Again, 2 laps to put up a time. Cale Bixler, purple sector 1. Ted York, purple sector 2. 11:33 for Ted York. Here's Cale Bixler off for turn 4. Second quick. 11:76. No surprise here with Chad Griggs already in the purple. Ted York, though, quick time. 11:20. Chris Schaefer up to third. But let's watch Chad Griggs very closely. Just put it up there. Holy moly. 10.904 for Chad Griggs. A quarter of a second better Then Isaac Bowman, who was second quick. Second lap time for Chad Griggs, off by 300ths. Yeah, that's like David Gravel going. Nah, I'm not gonna say it. I'll take it back. But speaking of which, World of Outlaws, by the way, in a weed sport, gotta give a shout out. Obviously, David Gravel on top, but for those that aren't familiar with some of the non-outlaws in the field, Zach Sabaka, who finished 9th, is a regular on the series that I call races for the CRSA Sprints. And it was his World of Outlaws debut last night. Instead of a 305, ran a 360 engine that he does have. And started 9th in the feature after finishing 3rd in his heat race. And a top 10 finish in his debut against the Outlaws. Oh my goodness. It was, man, that was epic. Really epic. Like, if he made the feature, we would still been very happy for him. But kept it in one piece. Finished in the top 10. My goodness. So checkers out here on qualifying, and we're ready. Solo heat race here. Brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Is Jeff Kemper on the pole in car number 181. Next to him, it is Teddy York in the 009. Road 2, Isaac Bowman in the 9. Next to Chad Griggs in the 27. Road 3, Sam Bachman in the 007. Next to Sam Akonda. Bud Molyneux in the 883. Row 4, Chris Schaefer in the 19. And the Sarge, Cale Bixler in the 789. Final car on the grid, Bob DeGood in the 7. So no call for DeGood on the grid. He's going to save his stuff. I'm going to guess here for the feature here tonight. Either that or actually may have just come in to watch. I'm not too sure. One more lap until we take the green flag. Again, this will set up the top 9 for our feature tonight. Green flag set to wave here for our lone heat race of the night. Here we go. Teddy York takes the race lead. Jeff Kemper wants it back. Chad Griggs up to second on lap number 1. Kemper dropped down to 3rd. Sam Bachman in 4th. Isaac Bowman trying to make a run underneath. Griggs, though, quickest car on the racetrack, trying to make a run underneath here on Teddy York for the top spot. Can he take it here off before he can't? Griggs knows this track very, very well. Cale Bixler has crashed. He jumps through the pits. But we're watching the race for the lead. Ted York, Chad Griggs going at it. Halfway home in Heat 1. Ooh, York a little sideways there off at turn 4. Trying to keep Chad Griggs right behind him, and that may have cost York. Griggs pulled even there off at turn 2. The 27 taken, not just yet. Griggs is trying everything, but he's very good on the bottom. Shorter way around Kokomo. Just can't get too low, though. But York very good off 3 and 4 that time. Final lap underway in the heat. Who's going to start on pole? We know these two will start on the front row. Will it be York or Griggs on the inside? Coming to the checkered flag. York takes it by a car length. Griggs in 2nd. Kemper 3rd, Bachman 4th, Schaefer 5th, Bowman 6th, Molyneux in 7th, and Bixler in 8th. Alrighty. That puts us through heat race. And we'll head to a warm-up when we come back. Feature time of the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Continuing on here with action here at Kokomo Speedway. Warm-up's finishing up here in just a moment. Isaac checking in. Happy to see everyone again. We're very happy to see you as well. That's for sure, buddy. Surprised we're not seeing you in Rebels here tonight. Honestly. Chad Griggs quickest 11.263 by 800ths on Sam Bachman. So set to go here for feature time. Let's meet the field and give you the starting lineup here. On the pole, Ted York in the 009, and to his outside, it's Chad Griggs in the 27. Row 2, Jeff Kemper in the 181. Next to him, the Sam Akonda, Sam Bachman in the 007. Row 3, Chris Schaefer in the 19. To his outside, Isaac Bowman in the 9. And in row 4, Bud Molyneux in the 883. And Cale Bixler in the 789. Behind everyone in the end, I believe, nope, this is everyone. So 8 cars will take the green here for tonight. Alrighty, time for the green flag here. Steve King Foundation pace car pulls on to pit road. 30 laps around Kokomo Speedway. Second time tonight that it is time to shake and bake. York and Griggs, bring us to green. It's time to get it on. Griggs leads the opening lap, followed by Ted York, Sam Bachman, Jeff Kemper, Isaac Bowman. That's the top 5. Up at the wall goes Bachman. He has to hang on to it. Bachman and York go wing to wing across the line. Advantage to York. And the 007 able to clear here on York. Remember, top 5 get into the show here this evening. By the show, I mean the Renegades event here this evening that we're all definitely looking forward to. Griggs, I think, may have actually caught the wall, and he did. Bachman to take advantage of the slide job. And we've got a new race leader, Sam Bachman, the 007. The top 3, nose to tail for the top spot. Griggs cuts the gap down to 1 car length. But give credit to the way Bachman's running. Did not run in the Open 358 race. Keep in mind, he is the series points leader entering the weekend, but we got a new points leader with it being Scott Riom. Oh, York, hang on to it. Great save. So that moves Chris Schaefer into the 3rd spot. But decent drive here so far early by the 007, taking advantage of the mistake that Chad Griggs had. Schaefer 3rd, York 4th, Jeff Kemper. That's the top 5, and we're watching closely Kemper versus Bowman. Final spot in the Renegades show this evening, pending IL. Go on board here for a lap with Chad Griggs. Just over 100 miles an hour entering the corner. Good drive off in turn 4 that time for Griggs. Quickest car on the track, 11:19. Actually, last time 11:24 to 11:37 by Bachman and Griggs. Testing the bottom waters once again. Bachman very good though on corner exit. First caution waves though. As for Bud Molyneux around in the center of 1 and 2. Look at the replay and what happened. Just simply lost in 1 and 2. I wonder if he had a little bit too much right foot there. Yep. He wasn't even on the brakes at all. He kept that foot, nearly kept that foot to the floor. He was all on that throttle. So caution waves here on lap number 15. Back to the green flag. We're halfway home. 15 up, 15 down. Bachman selected the top. We'll see if that works out for him. And it does. And look at this. Ted York passed the Knoxville Nationals champion up into 2nd. That's big for York. Oh, he got really sideways though off for turn 4. That allows Griggs to move up into P2. And Bachman scrapes the wall as well for just a moment. Doesn't lose too much time with the top 3 once again, all under a blanket. Griggs, though, hanging on, though, up on that cushion. Griggs all over the 007, down within a car length. Will Griggs be able to find his way and make a run here? 9 to go, will be 8. Griggs diamonds his way through 3 and 4. The top 2 are there, nose to tail for the top spot. And Bachman's in the wall. Griggs trying to take advantage. There he goes underneath. Didn't get it there. 7 to go. From the rear end of Sam Bachman, he knows, oh, hang on, Chad. Loose in the center of 3 and 4. But Griggs still there with the Samaconda. Oh, but he left the top open. And somehow Griggs did not capitalize on it. And again, Bachman can't be leaving that open, though. Bachman knows to stay there in 1 and 2. 4 laps to go. Can Bachman upset Chad Griggs? And Griggs knows it's going to take a run on the bottom, likely. Oh, Griggs caught the wall, though, in turn 2. Lost a lot of momentum there. The gap's a half second. Griggs trying to reel him in. But the caution flag waves with 3 laps of racing to go. And we have Cale Bixler and Chris Schaefer. Schaefer, though, the one that brought out the yellow. Did he lose it in turn 1, though? Yes, he did. And we had this happen as well with Cale Bixler. Caught the wall very 90 degrees sideways into the infield. And just centered pit lane. Alrighty. So coming back to the green flag here, this time by. Can Bachman hold off Chad Griggs? It's a 2-lap shootout. Griggs in the wall in turn 2. Griggs, oh, Bachman loose in turn 4. Griggs capitalizes the lead. Bachman nearly bumps him. Final lap underway. Heartbreak by Sam Bachman. Griggs takes advantage of the mistake and wins at Kokomo. Bachman going for his first Rebels win. We didn't want to say it just in case. And Chad Griggs steals it. Bachman second. York third. Kemper fourth. Molyneux in fifth. Again, if no caution flag waves, we are easily talking Bachman in victory lane. There you see the 9 cards on your, the 8 cards on your screen, I should say, and how they finished. So Griggs takes the checkered flag. We'll hear from the top 3 in just a couple of moments. And we've got our winner with us. Let's see if we have the other 2 drivers. We got Ted York, so we'll start with our 3rd place finisher and bring him in. Ted, take me through your race from your perspective here tonight.
I felt like I held on the whole race. Wasn't very comfortable at all. I don't know. I made a mistake early on. Found something in the middle part of the race, and then was just along for the ride to watch the show from was it Chad and
Bachman.
Chris Bachman, yeah. That was about it.
Yeah, is this normal for Kokomo though to be really this slick? I mean, I know the track is very small, but does it have that like glassy like feeling to it?
I think so. I don't run a lot of wing stuff at Kokomo. I've mostly run 410 non-wing stuff here, or midgets, and that usually gets kind of that real slick look to it.
Gotcha. Well, good run though. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
You guys for putting this on. School of Sim Racing, National Auto Racing Club League, and that's about it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ted. Great job, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay.
There you go. Ted York, our third place finisher. And let's go to second. Heartbreak for this man, Sam Bachman. Yep. He got whipped there at the end, to say the least. Sam, take me through what happened.
I just got a little loose in 3 and 4, but it is what it is. That's not really too experienced in these, so I guess take what I can get.
I mean, I got to give you credit, though, my man. You were holding off the Knoxville Nationals champion at a very tough place, and it looked like he was going to be absolutely dominant. Where do you feel from your perspective that you were running better than him?
I feel like 3 and 4 probably the first 20 laps. It was running a little better than him. That's where I'd really get my momentum for 1 and 2. But I think 1 and 2 he was just running a tad bit better. But 3 and 4 was just a little bit better for me, and I think I was just pulling on him a little bit. And then that last caution came out, and I just screwed myself.
A great run, though, for you regardless. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Oh, the boys over at FTM, Gunnar Swan Speed Shop, Dean over at Super Dirt Car Series, Expert Installation, Marty, you for doing the broadcast, and Coast to Coast.
Alrighty, man. We'll let you go. Great job, great run. And are we going to see you in Renegades or no?
I'll have to check on my incidents, to be honest, but I
Alright.
think I'll be good.
Alright, sounds good. Well, hey, if you're good, we'll see you there.
Yes, sir.
So Bachman finishing runner-up, and your winner in victory lane. Let's bring him in. Chad Griggs. Man, oh man, how'd you do it there? You just simply took advantage of Bachman's mistake.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he was going to make a mistake going to the white flag there. I just knew that I had to do something to get a different run. So I just kind of shortcut the exit of 4, and it really got me a run ramping down the hill kind of there off to the exit of 4. And I passed him at the flag stand. I did apologize to him because I knew it was going to be close, but I figured I had enough momentum to get past him and go ahead. I needed to get back up to the top and won, or I was not going to win the race. So I put it back up in top, and I think I'd put it there like really close and not parked it on him, but pulled over in front of him, and I think it was pretty close. So I owed him an apology for that, and I did apologize to him for that.
Why was it, though, from your perspective, that, maybe obviously the top's the place to be. Why was it, though, from your perspective? I should have asked Sam this. Why was it from your perspective, though, that he was running the middle groove of the racetrack through 3 and 4?
Well, so I started doing that too, and it was fast if you ran it. So you entered above basically that little cushion down there. You entered above it, and then what I was doing was really kind of cutting the car and doing like a cut down, because the banking there is really steep, and if you cut that down, you really gain a lot of momentum using the gravity to your advantage. But yeah, that was definitely the faster line on that end of the track. It just got too far around if you were up on the top.
A great run, though. A great win. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Thank you guys for the broadcast. Do a great job. C2C for the league. TJM, my team. Trent Pullman for my rep. That's it.
Alrighty, man. We'll let you go. Great win. Congratulations. We'll talk to you in Renegades.
Thank you, sir.
Griggs, your winner here. After taking the Knoxville Nationals last week, step aside and go to break. When we come back, Renegades action on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a
Hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as we continue on Renegades action. As the Renegades are brought to you by our friends at Flatline Racing Bodies. Marty Zacala with you. And as we prepare here for the Renegades, a look back at what has gone on here these past few weeks here. As again, we were off last week for this division because of the Knoxville Nationals, but Renegades have just put on a heck of a season so far. Blake Chapman, 19-point advantage on Patrick Spengler in second. And it's Ross the Boss Carinas running in third. Brandon Dittmer fourth, and Jeff Barker running out the top five. Carinas been dominant this season. 3 wins on the year. Doesn't look like we may have the boss, though, with us tonight. And we're going to go right into qualifying here. We'll watch the first driver that comes out on the racetrack, and we'll bring in the high side banger, Patrick Spengler, here for the first qualifying session of the night. Spengler, very good here at Kokomo as well in the past. Lap 1 time. He'll set the bar here, 10:78. 1:07.78 for the high side banger, Patrick Spengler. Stephen Gollner second at a 10:79. Bob DeGood third, 11:13. Jeff Barker fourth, Steve Bixler in fifth. Here comes DeGood off for turn number 4. Has a better lap in him. He does not. Barker, though, better in lap 2, 11:04 up to third. And let's go to the salesman, Blake Chapman. Steven Fernberg up to 6th on lap 1. That's an 11:25. Chapman, not a pole lap for him, but third quick, 10:96. Better lap for Terry Landis up to 7th, 11:25. Let's go to Chad Greggs, who did not get lap 1 in, but we'll see what he does here on lap 2. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Quick time, 10:65, 1:06.45 for Chad Greggs, and with that, he will sweep them in the sprint car portions this evening. So qualifying is in the books here at Kokomo Speedway for the time trials, and now we move on to heats. 15 drivers with us, so should be 2 heats here tonight. First heat brought to you by Gambler Motorsports, and Here's how they line up. As Jeff Kemper starts on the pole position here in the 181. Next to him, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Row number 2, you've got Stephen Goldner in car number 30. To his outside, it's Chad Griggs in the 27. Row 3, Stephen Fernberg racing in the 29. To his outside, it's Barry Goldner in the 36. In the final row, you've got the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. And good to see the Professor back. The original Professor, the OG Professor, John Hine in the 71. We'll go green next time by here. Everyone transfers into the show this evening. Winner, though, on the pole for the feature. Green flag waves, here we go. Side by side here as Jeff Barker with the lead. And once again, Chad Griggs up to second after lap 1. Kemper third, Stephen Goldner in the 4th spot. Griggs, though, around the outside here, ripping the lip as Griggs takes the lead over Jeff Barker. Let's go to third, Jeff Kemper. Stephen Goldner, slide job Goldner, but Barker was starting to come down, so Goldner forced to back out of it. And now Brandon Dittmer tries to challenge. For a spot in the top 4, Kemper in the wall, stacks up Barker in the wall as well. They are hooked off of turn 2. And so Kemper through to 4th, Fernberg up to 5th, Barker drops down to 6th, and now Goldner up the wall in turn 2. Brandon Dittmer says, thank you, boy. I'll take 2nd. Goldner tries to cross over. Good hard racing there at the line. Steven with a slide job. Dittmer up the wall in turn 1. Gap of car length here off of 4. Goldner's edging out Brandon Dittmer for right now. But it's Chad Griggs. He is gone. 3.4 second lead on Stephen Goldner. Quickest lap last time by, 10:79 as he makes his way to the checkered flag. Chad Griggs on the pole, your Heat 1 winner tonight. Goldner 2nd, Dittmer in 3rd, Kemper 4th. Then it's going to be Fernberg in 5th. And John Hine 6th, Barry Goldner 7th, Jeff Barker 8th. Set for heat race number 2. Brought to you by Regency Home Inspections as the Desert Demon on the pole, Terry Landis in car number 161, and to his outside, it's Bob DeGood in the 7. Row number 2, the row to watch closely, the Salesman, Blake Chapman in the 20. To his outside, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Row number 3, the Mayor, Steve Bixler in car 75. Next to him, the Pink Panther, Jesse Atkinson. Atkinson in the 127. Final car on the grid, Gentleman Jack Hitt starting 7th in the 217, but also with the Bill Calder tribute. Again, Bill's been going through some stuff, not just this past week, but also these past couple of months, and so, again, wishing Mr. Calder the best. He was watching Knoxville Nationals this week. It was great to see him tune into that, at least. Green flag waves, heat race number 2 underway. You're on board Terry Landis as we take the green. And already Blake Chapman 2-for-1 contact between DeGood and Spangler. They all keep it straight. Landis leads the opening lap. Chapman slide job possibly off turn 2. Spangler and the wall off contact with Landis and also collects Jesse Atkinson as well. And Spangler is around to the 39. And will have to come from the rear tonight if he wants to do something special. Meanwhile, Chapman has cleared the Desert Demon for the race lead off an 11:45 lap, and we got a pair of retreads battling for second. Bob DeGood trying to get a run, and Landis is slideways. Nice save off for turn 2. Left the top, though, open for Jesse Atkinson. Big Barbie fan, though. Oh, and now there goes Landis. Too much gas, I would have to assume, in that 161. And now DeGood really sideways, a lot like how Landis snapped out from the rear end. Again, your best battle on track here for second. 2 laps to go. And Heat 2. Now Atkinson almost went around. Man, this high side is biting drivers in the rear end. Really, really good. For Blake Chapman, though, smooth there in the 20. This will put him on the front row and start second here tonight. Checkers come together. Blake Chapman, your winner in Heat 2. DeGood second, Atkinson third, Bixler fourth, Hit fifth, and it's Landis sixth and Spangler in seventh. So warm-up time. When we come back, feature time for the Renegades on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. All right, we're good. Bear with me having some technical issues as Checkers finish up here on warm-ups as Chad Griggs quickest, man, by 2/10. I'm Patrick Spangler. We're about to find out what goes down here in our feature this evening. Let's meet the field and give you tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, Chad Griggs in the number 27 to his outside. The salesman, Blake Chapman in car 20. Row number 2, Stephen Goldner racing in the 30. To his outside, it's Bob DeGood in car 7. Row 3, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. To his outside, the Pink Panther, Jesse Atkinson in the 127. Row 4, Jeff Kemper in the 181. To his outside, the Mayor, Steve Bixler in the 75. Rounding out the top 10, Stephen Fernberg in the 29 and Gentleman Jack Hitt in the 217. Row 6, the Professor, John Hine in the 71. And the Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161. Row 7, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. And the High Side Banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39. Final car on the grid, Barry Goldner racing in the 36. Picks to win here this evening. I'm going to go with the man that starts from the pole position. Give me Griggs on the 27. We're about to find out and see what happens here tonight. Alrighty, time to shake and bake once again. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Showtime at Kokomo. "35 laps the distance here around Kokomo for the Renegade. Stephen Goldner very sideways. Goldner and Chapman get together while Chad Griggs leads lap 1. 3 wide for third. DeGood and Dittmer alongside with the salesman for just a moment. And it's Dittmer that edges out Dittmer edging out Chapman across the start-finish line, excuse me. Dittmer in second over Blake Chapman, Stephen Goldner, Bob DeGood. Chad Griggs is gone, and as I say that, John Hine upside down on the 71. The caution flag waves here for the first time on lap 5. For a wild one, I believe, as well. Our first flip of the night. Here's a look at what happened to the Professor. Oh, Bixler and Fernberg got together, and Fernberg catches Hine. And up and over goes the 71. And that is a wingless sprint. On board Barry Goldner. Man, was just really sideways trying to catch everything there. So set to go here for this restart with 5 laps in the books. Griggs and Dittmer the front row to bring us back to the green flag. And here we go. Griggs able to hold serve there over Brandon Dittmer. Atkinson Goldner side by side for third. And where'd this man come from? It's only lap 7. Patrick Spangler's already up to 5th. Atkinson catches the wall. Blake Chapman, Jack Hitt do battle. They're wing to wing for 6 and the 3 and around. Goes Stephen Goldner and collects Stephen Fernberg, and turtled is the 30. Look at what happened to Stephen. Does he just simply lose it here to 3? Yep, he does. He's been hanging on for on and off in that same corner. Not in the same corner, I should say, but, you know, in corner entry in general. Let's go on board with Steven Fernberg here on the 29. All right, coming to the restart. Watch for the aerial shot. 8 laps complete. Back to the green. 3 wide. Brandon Dittmer trying to grab second off for turn 2. Has it for now over Spangler, Atkinson, and Hitt. And now Atkinson takes a peek downstairs at Spangler and look at Jack Hitt doing some good work. You know, force of habit would have me say Bill Calder's driving that thing in 6th spot. And he is smiling right now with the way Jack Hitt's driving that. Chapman around the outside looking to grab 5th. Dittmer up the wall off of turn number 2. More trouble. Barry Golner, Steven Fernberg. Just some of the foreground before we cut the shot. No caution. We stay under the green. Change here for 4th. Blake Chapman, Jesse Exon. Chapman trying to rebound here. And they're dealing with, oh, that was Dittmer. They got really sideways off of turn 4 that last lap. Great exit from Spangler. He may propel himself through into the 2nd spot. Dittmer up at the wall again. Chapman trying to counter things back here in the number 20. He wants to grab that podium spot away from BD off of 2. About to be the best racing here on track. Under 20 laps to go. Next time by, cross flags wave here for Chad Griggs. There it is. 17 laps complete here with 16 remaining. Gap is at 1.8 seconds on Patrick Spangler and continues to steadily increase. How about Terry Landis? Started in the 12th spot. Running 6th. Can he grab a top 5 spot from Jesse Atkinson? Landis has had his most from time to time. Oh, come on! Oh, I wanted to see that run continue. That's why I was saying come on. I want to see Terry continue to do his work up near the front. Gets into the back of Steven Golner and sends him around. Golner trying to crawl around at a snail's pace, trying to finish. And that, though, was netcode. That was netcode. I want to watch Landis' onboard, though, because I know he was trying to left there easily. But at some points, you just don't see drivers coming, you know? Yeah, trying everything left. He just didn't realize how slow Barry was going. Back to the green, single file, rest of this race. 15 laps of racing to go. It's Griggs, Spangler, and Dittmer, the top 3. Dittmer forced to lift as Spangler cut his line off 3 wide for just a moment. Spangler edging Dittmer there at the line. Spangler nearly caught the wall of the back end. Chapman wanting bite here for that bottom step of the podium. Chapman get it off for 4. I thought he did there for just a moment, but it was very, very close. And Dittmer tagged the wall there and somehow still had third of the line. This is the race all eyes are towards. Meanwhile, Griggs 1.5 second lead on Patrick Spangler with 10 laps of racing remaining. Dittmer continues to rub the top. And again, some sparks off the walls. He kissed it there. But how much will this car suffer on the high side? Up on the wall. He's doing a great job with that car. Chapman is just hoping Dittmer makes a mistake. And when does he cook here for third? Don't know maybe if Dittmer's aware or not with him right behind him though. 5 laps to go this time by for Chad Griggs. Works on lap traffic. The lead now at 2.7 seconds on Patrick Spangler. That's followed by Dittmer, Chapman. Here we go. And now they both have caught up to the 39 of Spangler. A 3-car race for second. 4 laps of racing to go. On board Dittmer. He maybe steals second from his teammate in the end. We'll have to see. 3 more laps. Ooh, Spangler at the wall though. Catches Dittmer. Chapman a chance to pounce possibly. Oh, man, he nearly caught the Uke tire. 3 wide now for second. We're coming to the white flag. 1 lap of racing remaining. Chapman. And now here comes Atkinson into the party here for second. But off for turn 4. Checkers wave. Chad Griggs your winner. Battle for second here at the start-finish line. Who's it going to be? Spangler on the wall. Edges out. Chapman, Dittmer in 4th. Atkinson 5th. Fireworks go up and Chad Griggs is your winner. So that's how the top 3 look as they come onto a podium. Griggs wins by a whopping 4.8 seconds on Patrick Spangler, followed by Chapman, Dittmer, and Atkinson, the top 5. Biggest mover without question. Spangler up 12 spots to finish second in the end. So we got third and second. Let's bring in the salesman Blake Chapman. Blake, how much fun was that race with Dittmer in those final few laps?
Yeah, it's just definitely what I needed there. I think with about 2 to go, maybe I saw Patrick get a little bit loose coming off of 4 there. I don't know if he hit the wall or what, but then Dittmer kind of had to check up there, and he went to the middle, and the bottom was good in 1 and 2, so I was able to get him there. And it wasn't very good in 3 and 4. The middle was a lot better, which is where I wanted to be. But since they were up there, I had to try and stick the bottom, which I did decently well in those last couple of laps. But, fortunately, we got a good enough of a run through 1 and 2. And on the last lap, we hit 3 and 4 pretty well down low. And, yeah, we were able to hold on to second there. Wish the track would have come in a little bit more. But, the top was fast pretty much all night. And that middle in 3 and 4 was really fast at the end, too. So, unfortunately, the bottom really never came in for us. But, not a bad run overall. We'll definitely take a 3rd place.
Did lap traffic play a factor too in that pass for third or no?
I'd say a little bit. I had to go up there. I could see Barry, and then I think there's someone else in front of him too, running down low. So I had to go and get up top, and I think we might have just gotten around him with about 2 to go, which is when I was able to dive back down to the bottom to get Dittmer there. So I could be wrong. There might have been another lap car there, kind of in between us. But I'd have to go back and look at the replay on that. Definitely didn't affect me at all. Any lap cars, but could have affected Brandon there at the end. Not sure. Just had to go back and look at that one for sure.
Go ahead and sell some popcorn.
Yeah, I got to thank the parents and grandparents for watching. I got to thank all the guys down at KSR, especially Terry for running with me tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy and AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank Flatline Racing Bodies for sponsoring this division. I got to thank Steve's Custom Golf Clubs and Mauer Farm Management. And of course, I got to thank some Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some very delicious popcorn, and the Knoxville Nationals are coming up. And if you don't want to be sitting on your couch with nothing to snack on during that big show, so head over to GalensGourmetPopcorn.com and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And of course, I got to thank everyone that's involved in putting this league on, and I got to thank you for broadcasting, Marty.
Alrighty, man. Great job tonight. Hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Marty.
Blake Chapman finishing third to the second place finisher and Patrick Spangler. Patrick, take me through that run tonight. What a charge from 14th to second after spinning your heat.
Yeah, I got to second, and then Chad's just been on another level lately. So I was like, I'll just play it safe and try to gain points. 'Cause I know Blake got a 2x, and I had a 0x, and then decided to throw that down the drain with 2 laps to go and hit the wall pretty good. So still got 2 spots better than him, but I was hoping to have a big points night over him tonight.
Yeah, regardless, though, still a great run. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Just you for the awesome broadcast, Jack and Jeff for everything they do for the league. Training Wheels Racing with Brandon and Jesse, good runs tonight. And JRB Designs for the wrap.
Alrighty, man. Congratulations, great run, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
Yep, hopefully.
So Patrick Spangler finishing second, and now we go to victory lane. 2 wins in one night. Chad Griggs, another great performance, man. How'd you do it?
Well, I guess I just kind of mimicked what we did in the Rebels race pretty much. That was really about what it was. It was just kind of the same lines. The track kind of shaped out to be the same, and that's really all I did was just kind of mimic what we did in the Rebels race.
Did you feel like you had maybe a better long run car compared to everybody else?
I don't know. I didn't really want to see cautions, but I was okay once we started going single file. I knew that I pretty much had to mess up or give it away myself, which I think I almost did. I was scared I was going to break the car because I don't know if it was about 5 or 6 to go. I was really having to run to the outside entering 3, and there's that opening in the wall there. And I smacked the living you-know-what out of that wall, and I was just like, oh, God, please don't break my car.
Well, next week, I got to check where we're going next week. I haven't had a chance to look at the schedule all night tonight, but next week we head to Knoxville. Yeah, how you feeling going in, especially after winning there last week?
Knoxville's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm ready.
All righty, there you go. Well, who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Again, thank you for the broadcast, C2C for the league. Congratulations to Spangler and Chapman for completing out the podium there. Looked like they were having a pretty good race back there too. And then thanks to my team TJM and Trent Pullman for my wrap.
All righty. Congratulations on the win. Well done, Chad. 2 in one night. Not too bad.
Thank you, Marty.
We gotta get. Oh yeah, one more thing. We gotta get you in a modified if you want a chance at a Triple Crown.
I don't ever run the modifieds. Maybe if I have some time to practice and get used to them and figure them out, maybe. But I don't ever run them.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, regardless, good job tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Chad Griggs, your race winner here this evening at the Kokomo Speedway. And yes, we return to the sprint car capital of the world next week for Monday Night Madness. Rest of the schedule, tomorrow night we got Old Timer Tuesday, the retreads at Eldora and Daytona. Our man Doug at How to Second Eye Racing will have the call. Wednesday night, Hometown Heroes at Port Royal with the 358s and the 360s. Shaggy will have the coverage for that. Thursday Night Thunder, brought to you by Adam Flieger at Williams Grove for the small blocks and the big blocks. And again, next Monday, we are at Knoxville. That'll do it for us here this evening. On behalf of the Coast to Coast Racing League, all the drivers, the admins, and our sponsors, Marty Scallett saying so long. Thanks for joining us. Your winners this evening, Brandon Templeton, the mod, and in both sprint divisions, Chad Griggs. So